Hello and welcome to this first video of the 3D top-down shooter. So at the start here, I've already created my project, which you know how to do, and just make sure you're doing it as a 3D game, not as our typical 2D games here, something a little bit different. And first thing we're going to do is import a package of the sort of the robot, because we're going to use the robot sort of as our main object here at the start. So we'll get our player sort of figured out before we start dealing with our enemies. And so that's going to come in as a package. So it's actually been packaged up already for you, and it's pretty simple to import it there. So if we can find wherever it is under our asset, we are going to import the package. This should be in Teams for you. So we're going to find a custom package. Mine is on my in my game coding folder here, but you'll be able to download this from Teams and then just put it onto your drive. And so we're going to open up that package. Now, there are a few extra things on it that we don't need, and that's primarily the scripts here. So just get rid of the scripts and then import the rest of it. So it might take a minute or two to bring it in, depending on the situation. And we can just take a little look here. So it's come in sort of in these three folders. There's a little bit of stuff we can just sort of get rid of, I think, in here. That's the animation. I'm actually going to throw that, right? This is the animation controller here. I'm going to throw that into the bot one. And yeah, so I can actually even just get rid of that folder there. Yeah, there's nothing in it, so that's okay. And I think the prefab with the player, yeah, this one's it's missing its textures and stuff like that. Just get rid of that. We'll create a new one there. So I'm just going to delete that one as well. And you can leave that pre-full, or probably, yeah. I'm just trying to think. I'm probably just going to actually get rid of that player folder completely as well. Okay, but just leave your prefabs there. And so we've got our bot. So we've got textures. There's the bot that we'll drag in a second here. There's the gun part as well. And I believe there's the textures on this as well. And you can see there's a map as well, a bump map to give it some depth as well. And I think there's a scene there. We won't be opening that up at the moment, but that should be good. So let's go back to wherever our bot was here, and we could just sort of drag him in. If you drag him into here, he'll appear at sort of 0, 0 in your game, as you can see. If you drag it into the game, he might end up somewhere else. So I just simply dragged it into here, and we can see this. Now, all his pieces, I guess if we focus in on this here, right, every single one of his pieces is separate there. Sometimes, it's optimized to not do that, but in our case, we've only got our one character, so we should be pretty good with that. But you'll also notice that he has no textures on him. So that would be sort of our next step, is to make sure that he looks a little bit better than this default texture. So to get this material onto him, we're going to find that material. If you go into your folders over here, art, bot, textures, and there's down in materials. And what you'll notice is one that says robot, spelt wrong, and then URP. That stands for the Universal Render Pipeline. At the moment, we just created the game in the regular renderer. And a little bit later on, once we get a few more things in there, I'll talk a little bit more about this universal render pipeline that helps us basically improve our materials and make it a little bit more efficient. We'll talk about that and how to convert your game to the URP, something that's relatively new in Unity. But for the moment, we'll just sort of go with the standard shaders here. So what we want to do is apply this to everything. And like I said, don't worry about this showing up as purple. It's just because this version of the game that we're making at the moment doesn't recognize the URP file. We'll fix that. Open up the robot there. Grab everything but the BIP. Okay, so easiest thing is just click on that 001, come down to the end, hold Shift, and select them all. And then you should be able to see that it's got the skinned mesh renderer popping up here. And you might have to pull down the materials, and in element 0, it shows no name. We'll just drag that in. Okay, so now it's showing all purple, okay, or pink, whatever color, magenta. Um, and the reason, of course, like I was mentioning, is that it's a URP material. We can change that shader. And so, because it says hidden internal shader, we'll just change it to standard. And if we do that, you'll notice that now he's got the material on it. So he's got a bit of a green and sort of this grayish color as well. Okay, so that's yeah, that's this material there for the moment. We'll work on, like I said, changing that universal render pipeline, and it'll look a little bit better later on. Now, the next thing we want to do is actually get him animating and then create a bit of a controller. So this is something, again, maybe a little bit different for us. So we're gonna work through it. There is a controller already on here, and I think we moved it. We'll just get rid of that actually, so that we can create our own animator. So it says there, the animation controller, can undo, just delete it there. Good. So let's put a animator in. So what we'll do is create this animator ourselves. So if you just right click in here, we can add a animator. So where is that? There, create, and then down to animator controller. So that's the one we want. And we should be able to view that animator controller. Oh, actually, we'll apply it to the robot while we're at it here. So click on the robot. There's this animator controller, and actually let's give it a name too before we do that. Let's just call this the player animator controller. So click back on that robot. There is already an animator component added. If you didn't have that there, obviously we'd have to add the animator component, and it's already linked to the robot avatar. So we're sort of one step ahead there, but giving us a little bit of extra. And then we'll just add that on to the player there. Good. So we've got the player controller. The player controller does nothing at the moment, or the animator controller does nothing at the moment. So we need to view that. So I'm going to go to view. We need that, probably an animation, the animator. Where's the animator controller? There's the animator. And then we've got this window here. Now from this basic entry, so this is when the big game begins, we're going to create something called a blend tree. So I'm going to create a state, and we're going to create a new blend tree. Now the blend tree, and this is a little bit new to me and probably new to you, what this is going to give us is the ability to have values. So say between like a -1 and a +1 and a 0, and we'll be able to blend through the different animations that we're going to put in here. In the end, I think we're going to have 8 sort of directions, basically, forward, backward, sideways, and the diagonals as well. And then there'll be some sort of, a few other things as well, like when they're shooting and just sort of the rest mode kind of thing as well, right? So we've got to put all these together here. So to create those different animations, like I said, sort of the 8 animations, we're going to use a different program, but we're going to sort of set up here inside the blend tree where those animations will be sort of activated. So I'm going to double click on this, and it sends you into the blend tree. And over here, so if I click on the blend tree, we can see that there's a motion. Now I'm not going to put all 9 in at the moment. We'll put in 2, and so we'll add a motion field, and we'll add another one. And you can sort of see there's going to be a bit of blending. Now this is going to be sort of our forward and backward to start with. There won't really be any blending there because you would sort of stop and then move on and so on. But as we sort of progress through this, you can see there's a threshold, and then that allows us to, at whatever value, given the sort of like a parameter, whatever value that is, it will sort of switch from one movement to another movement. And we can actually see our character there, and we can watch the animation after. But we need to bring the animations in. We need to create the animations, actually. This process always sort of instilled fear in me because I'm going to teach an animation course, and I'm going to show you a pretty quick way to sort of, I don't know if cheat's the right word, but make your life a lot easier. All right. So what I've done here is gone to mixamo.com and logged in. Now you have to log in. Now I think, and you'll have to test this, but it's an Adobe program. It's free, but you have to log in. And so I think we can use the langleyschools.ca account because we all kind of have Adobe accounts to use Photoshop and Illustrator, etc. So try that to log in. Otherwise, you might have to create your own account there. Now, what we'll have to do first is upload our character. And then as you can kind of see here, there is a bunch of animations. And so the idea, whatever, all there, the idea is that you don't have to animate it. If you've got a properly rigged character, you can basically bring it in, and then all the you can apply the animations and download the animations there. So the first thing that we'll do is upload that character. And to do that, we should use find the FBX file. So it should be in what I gave you there. Let me just see here. I think probably right from Unity, we can drag it in, because this should be, yeah, there's our FBX. So I believe we can just grab it from here and drag it in. So it will upload it, and then we should be able to do the character pack here. So give it a second here. I'm just going to pause it. So the character has been uploaded, and you can see there he is, and they've already put some poses in there. And now we can go, and this I guess gives you a little bit of a basic idea. You can rotate around him and see how it is. Yeah, and he's now doing stuff and he's looking pretty good. Okay, we're not going to get into all the rigging and stuff like that. This works, thankfully. Now what we want to do is find that rifle pack that I was talking about. So if you search for rifle and press enter, I guess. There's rifle run, rifle. I'm looking for the 8-way rifle. Maybe I should put 8 in there. So you can see all these different ones. Let me put 8. Search for that. There we are. So the 8-way locomotion. So I think if you can click on that, and what happens in here is that it applies it to the player here. So I'm just going to pause it again. That didn't take too long. And where's my character? There he is. And you can see he's sort of running around, and he's got all these animations. Now I think usually there is something over here where you can, oh, skeleton, okay, see through. I thought there was somewhere where you could modify it. I think everything is going to be okay here. What will end up happening is that we will download it, and it will send, send to her now. Okay, I thought there was something where we could modify it. But anyways, we're going to download all these animations and then put them into our game. Where has he gone? Oh, well, let's just download it. This is going to take a minute here. What we'll do is, so they brought this back here. There is FBX for Unity. Let's try that. That might work better. The T-pose is what we want. We're going to run 30 frames per second. We won't reduce it. So we'll download it, and this should give us a zip file. And once that's done, we'll put it into our game there. So I'll pause it as we download. So all my animations should be in this zip file. So I'm going to show in folder. Bring this over here. So there it is there. I don't know if I can just go in. I don't think it will let me. Maybe it will. I'm just going to take that first one and go down to the bottom one. And I'm just going to copy it. So, okay, whatever, cancel. Okay, will let me? Okay. Okay, I have to say okay. And then I'm going to copy, cut would probably be fine too. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go find my game here. And I'm just going to put it right into the resources. So top-down shooter, my assets, art prefabs. I think I put it in here, into the bots. Yeah, well, it doesn't really matter. We can move it after. Let's just create a new folder and call this animations. And then hopefully I can just paste all of that in. So now there's all the animations in. I'm just going to close that up, hide this, go back to Unity, and it's loading up at the moment. So just give it a second. There we go. And somewhere here under my bot, where did I throw it? Oh, there's the animations there. So there's all the animations. We can put it back into just words here, probably easier to find. And in the next video, we'll start actually playing around with these animations. So you can see how easy it is. Once you got the model, if you use Mixamo there, you can get your animations without any problems.